Hello Internet, Category here, and I've got an unboxing today, which is something which caught my eye a while back and I finally managed to get my hands on a copy of, and that is Star Trek Captain's Chair, a card-based solo and multiplayer game built from the makers of Imperium Legends, Imperium Classics, and from what I hear, it's a game that follows very much in that vein. Now, when it comes to Star Trek, I used to be a really big fan. I wouldn't call myself a Trekkie. Being a child of the 90s, though, Next Generation was top tier. DS9 and Voyager were alright. The original series was my dad's Star Trek. And to be honest, everything that's come in the last couple of decades I've been a bit disappointed with. In fact, I'd say the best Trek that has come out in recent years is The Orville. So now I've got my tastes for Star Trek out of the way. Let's have a little look at this box. Now, the first thing I noticed when I received it is, even in the shrink wrap, the box doesn't close properly. It's already wide open. Now, as a wargamer, I'm used to punching all the pieces out and finding out that a box doesn't actually quite shut together again. But coming that way from the factory, it better have some kind of storage in there, otherwise I'll be quite annoyed at how jarring that'll be on my shelf. Take a quick look at the back. Yep, Star Trek Captain's Chair. It's a game takes up to 2 hours, 14 plus, 1 or 2 players. And it's a deck building game where you can take the role of various captains and their vessels, so it could be Picard and the Enterprise, or various Klingons or Romulans, or you can even be Cisco with Deep Space Nine, I believe. So look, there's a variety of options to be across the various treks. And there's more content coming. I've already seen there's some expansions planned for it, so it's a game that's going to have some backing. Now, with each of these different captains you can be, apparently they all play quite differently, and it's not a purely violent game. To win, sometimes you need to be diplomatic, sometimes you need to be more exploratory, so it's got a range of things that you give it the Star Trek vibe, and from what I hear, it's a really, really thematic game. So, let's pop open this wide box and get ourselves in off and see what's inside. So yeah, this is you can tell already, this is a jam-packed box. No wonder it didn't close properly. But I mean, the lid is comparable to the box size, so hopefully once everything's punched, there'll be a way to fit it all back in and have it close. So let's go. Take a look at what comes with it. So starting up, you've got the common card list. So a bit of a player's aid of, I'm assuming, cards that are going to be generic and usable for all captains. Just a bit of a spacer there. So here is the rule book. Look, it's really well illustrated. Seems to be 2-column with a good readable text size, but still jam-packed with information. How you set up. Oh yeah, so it's going to be a lot of reading. It's going to be quite on the heavy side, but more of a Euro game than any of the war games I've been playing recently. So it's a good return to things I've done before. But yep, so you've got the main rule book. You've got an additional rules for solo play here, so different ways to set up, different things that are going to have to take place. I imagine it's going to be built on the top of this, in addition to it. So I'll be reading the 2-player rules first. Here we got some cards. So some kind of player displays. So you got one for Picard, front and back, and some tokens you need for each player. Or Koloth, the Klingon. Benjamin Sisko. Oh, Sela, Romulan. Shran, I can't remember what these guys with the blue, I think it's called Andorians or something. Burnham, now she's from one of the new series which I haven't watched. Possibly Strange New Worlds, was it, that she was in? Like I said, I haven't really watched any Trek. I tried watching Picard, but it all felt a bit too dystopian and didn't really have the Trek feel. Where I could just rewatch The Next Generation and still enjoy it. I'll say you've got some standees for vessels. There you go. Klingon vessel there, Romulan Warbird. There's DS9. Oh, Bird of Prey. Some little shuttles. Oh, USS Defiant. There's the classic TNG Enterprise. And another sheet of tokens. So that's going by this, I'm getting that's 10 sheets in all. But again, they're not, apart from the boards themselves, they're not all that huge. There's not a huge amount of extra counters involved there. But here we go to the main game itself, and there is a nice plastic insert, so it seems like things will be able to be organised very well. So, first stack of cards, you got Picard. I think these are special. These are cards. 5U mission upgrades. So each of these are individual for the captains you'll be using. So, there's like special rules for each particular captain and different win loss conditions here on the back. So. Some little clear stands for the ships that we saw earlier. And some little cubes of gold-plated platinum. Some nice little, I assume, dilithium crystals here. Oh, yep, a tasty little treat for later. I'll have that for a snack. Oh, I like these. I forget what they were called, these chips. I see them all the time in TNG being plugged into consoles, but they look the part, and it's proper acrylic, proper hard plastic here. So they do they have a coating? Yeah, I think they do have a. That's going to be peeled off and make them look super sharp. Stuff here. Again, I've not read the rules at all, so I've got no idea how they factor into the gameplay. Ooh, 2 snacks, they are generous. Here we go, so here's like some kind of score pad, I think. A bit bent up from it, but here we have some more little coloured cubes for these colours. They match these tracks here, so that's going to be for the 2 players, so they can both track what they need on their boards. Again, not sure which each of the tracks mean. I mean, yellow looks handshaking, maybe diplomacy, blue some kind of science, red some kind of aggression, some kind of combat bonuses. And here we go, all these cards. So we've got Picard and the Enterprise D. So each of the captains involved will have their own unique deck of cards. Picard's got 24 of them. Will, Riker, Worf. Each bringing in factors that are and skills unique to that character and characters associated with them. So again, I've heard this game is really thematic, really leans into the stories that have come from the show. So it's going to be really good to dig into. So I'm not going to open them all, but here we've got Benjamin Sisko, so he'll be with Bajor. Yep, and there we go, our Deep Space Nine, effectively his ship. Still, it was always very strange to have Star Trek that didn't involve any trekking anywhere, but there we go. So yep, cut off the Klingon player. Got a scene of the Romulan. What else have we got here then? So Burnham, Thalexaran. This just seems to be And there seems to be nothing but locations. Beta Z, Deep Space K7. Indria, the Kelverstock. So yeah, look, there are places that I kind of I recognise that name. Like I said, not a huge Trekkie, but there's locations I do remember being mentioned in the shows and films that I have seen. What's this one? So got common terms and icons. Also, that's a little like mini play aid to keep by you to keep track of things. Star date. So I'm guessing because these are star date makes me think there's some kind of event cards. But looking at it here, don't want to get them all out of order just in case. I've got 2-player solo cadet practice. Solo versus various different level bots. Ensign, Lieutenant, Commander, Captain, Admiral. So I'm guessing there's kind of different difficulty levels, and I think these will be some kind of timekeeping flow, some like tracking how far along in the scenario you are. That's why with these first Ensign bot ones, the numbers seem to be lower, and this cadet practice one's only got 2 cards instead of 5. So again, not played it, don't know exactly how it's going to go down. But I'm guessing these will be the common cards that can be taken by anyone. Because this is a deck building game, so although each of the captains will have their own deck, there'll also be a common pool of like often marketplace cards where you can add to your deck to find things that you think will be useful for your objectives later on. And they'll be shared by both players that can be pulled in and out. Again, that's why the little note in the corner there is so important. So that when you have got it all mixed up into one deck, once you need to deconstruct into separate decks later, you know, these are the Picard cards. And these are just the generic ones because they've got no location. Different types of cargo, encounters, all sorts of characters from around. All extra ships, Borg probe ship. So the cards themselves, playing with them, they have got this I don't know, they do seem a bit on the thin side. There's a lot of flex to them, and they have that. It's not a premium feel, but I mean, considering the price of the game, I'm not entirely surprised it's a bit lower quality, especially with the 200 odd cards that comes with it. But you know, when you open a deck of magic cards, they feel real sturdy. These are a lot more flimsy, but again, they're not collectibles. They're not of that. So overall, I'm quite impressed with how the components look, and I'm really, really excited to crack into this rulebook and find out just what's going on. And I'd love the chance to play out Picard, spend some time as him in the Star Trek universe. So now it's just the next challenge really is, will everything go back into this box after I've punched things and sorted things out? So have you played Star Trek Captain's Chair? Or any deck building games in general? This isn't my first deck building game, but I've not spent a huge amount of time with this kind of game, so it will be a bit to pick up. And although I've heard great things about Imperium, which is the system this is built on, it's something that I've never actually got into myself. It's never really appealed enough to me to jump on it. But being the sci-fi fan that I am, and having a link to some of the older Star Treks personally, I thought, I'd give this one a go. I do have some background in it. But if you have played this, I'm really interested to know what you think. What am I getting myself in for? So, until next time, happy gaming!